One of the things that's happened to us is Karen does readings for Karen and I, as well as everybody else. And when she does a reading for us, I play it over and over and over again, because every time I hear it, there's something new comes on. But one of the things that Karen said in the last reading that we did was that always the right people show up on the fourth Sunday, and it's always balanced. And today I'd like to even go a step further and say that what you showed us, this heroic thing that brought tears to a lot of people's eyes here, is an example of a problem that we're all dealing with, and this man talked about it brilliantly. Let me just tell you that there is a book that came out. This is not exactly the right title, but it's close enough. The answer to the question how is yes. The answer to the question how is yes.
I like that.
And that's kind of what this man was saying in this film. But I want to start off with, this is from Matthew 21:21-22. Isn't that cool? I tell you the truth. If you have faith and do not doubt, not only can you do what was done to the fig tree, remember they made the fig tree just kind of go over, but also you can say to this mountain, go throw yourself into the sea and it will be done. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. Now, I heard something this week that makes that understandable to me, and one of the things that I do, and some of the rest of you do too, it's not just a guy thing, by the way, is when I hear something or something is going to happen or something is going to go, the next question is, well, how? How are we going to do that? And the answer is not always easy, but what happens when you hear how and you don't have an easy answer? You say, well, I guess it can't be done. So we interviewed Dr. Katya Walter this week. She is a local physicist and a Jungian analyst. And she has written a book called The Double Bubble Universe. Now, I'm going to synthesize this in such brief order that you'll just be, you may not be confused, but you may want to know more. Everybody's familiar with the circle with the yin and the yang. The white and the black, the upper and the lower. Well, what she says in the double bubble universe is that it's like this is in two separate parts. On this part up here, we live in the world that we normally live in, which is three-dimensional. There's up, down, sideways, and up and forward and backward. There's a three-dimensional universe, and also time is only experienced in the present. There's no past, there's no future, there's now. On the bottom side of this is which is a place where we can't consciously access information. We find, according to Katya, that the universe on this level is one-dimensional, but time is three-dimensional. Time can go forward, backward, and sideways. And what she says is that these two things work together. They're not separate, so they comprise the whole. But they begin to explain how this stuff works. And the message that I got from it was that down here, where time is three-dimensional, past, present, and future, somehow or another things can be worked out so that when they appear up here, it's like synchronicity. But it's actually a very complex process that appears to us as synchronicity. Now, how does that relate to what I just read? It relates like this. What the scripture, and that would be Jesus in this case, is saying is that if you have faith, you can move mountains. Now, everybody's heard that, right? Anybody live in the mountains? Ever? Karen and I spent the first 5 years of our marriage in the mountains, and believe me, asking a mountain to move is pretty serious faith. But you don't have to have a physical mountain to experience the process. And so we ask for something, and then the next question happens is, well, how could that ever happen? And it can't happen, so therefore it won't happen. But there is a formula for making things like this happen, and it goes like this. First, you ask. And you don't ask the question how, you just say, I want this to happen. Now, if you're like me, and I'm not at all controlling, it's true. You begin to make these assumptions about how this is going to happen. Well, that's just a limiting thing. What you have to do is simply accept that through something inside this double bubble universe, where time down here is in 3 dimensions and space is in 1, and up here space is in 3 dimensions and time is in 1, somehow or another in this connection between the two, between the hidden and between the hidden and the seen, between the unseen and the manifest, something happens. And our only job after we have asked for something is to accept it. But that's not nearly as easy as it sounds, because all these questions keep going in your mind. Well, that can't happen, this won't happen, that's never happened, blah, 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 blah. And it's chatter, it's noise. So after you accept that your question is going to be answered, which is what Jesus says is, but if you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. Now, in prayer simply means that you're asking, not on the fly, not driving down the freeway, but you're stopping and saying, I really want this to happen. And it can be about you, it can be about the world, it can be about your partner, it can be about your dog, anything. But you simply can ask for it, and it says it will be done. Now, most of us have had experience in life where you ask for something over and over and over and over again, and what happened? Nothing happened. But I suspect that if you would look deep inside yourself, you would find that you set up some preconditions that it couldn't happen. Something couldn't happen. I have experienced, as recently as this week in my life, 2 things that just simply blew me away. And they blew me away after I released them. I don't know what's going to happen, don't know if it will happen, but whatever it is, I release it. And as soon as you release it and just accept whatever it is that you're receiving, the next thing that happens is you're in a position to receive.
And you don't have to know how it's going to happen.
You don't have to know
how it's going to happen. So you just say, I accept it?
You just
In
you
gratitude.
accept it and say, I am grateful that this will be resolved. Just simple. I'll be grateful that this will be resolved. And sometimes the stuff you ask for, the need for it goes away. And you say, well, since I don't need it, I guess it's not important that it didn't happen. So this is a process. I know all of us go through this. I mean, I would love to be able to read this to you and say, hey, by the way, folks, this is real simple. Just believe it and it happens. It's not like that. This is a process that we all work through. And it's not about how many times in your life you've gone through it or anything else. It's something we have to go through. So today, as you think about this, ask yourself the question, can you really accept that what you are seeking is coming to you? I'll tell you about Simpson's Law. I have a friend named Jeff Simpson, and he's a scuba diver. He owned the dive shop in Plano, Texas, and he's a thinker, quite a thinker, but he developed Simpson's Law. And Simpson's Law states that if you're looking for something in the universe, chances are it's looking for you. And if you go out looking for it, what's happening is that 2 objects are shooting at moving targets. And guess how accurate you're going to be if 2 things are moving in relationship to each other. looks so good. Seriously.
What's that?
I'm fine. So if you're looking for something and it's looking for you, the only way to find it is for you to stand still and let it find you. And whatever you're looking for actually is looking for you. And if you just simply stand still and accept that it'll find you, boom, there it is. So think about that, because we're still in the crazy, folks. We're going to be in the crazy for a little bit longer, maybe 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years. But we're going to be in the crazy for a while. And yet the things that we're looking for, whether it's involvement with the planet and bringing awareness of what's going on and what we've done and what we need to do to correct it, or whether it's inside of a relationship, or whether it's inside of whatever it is, there are solutions out there for us. And if we can just accept the fact that the answer is coming, all we have to do is hold our hands out, hold still, and receive. And I hope that makes sense, because in my experience, I've had that. Anybody have a question or want to mention something?